The first time that I saw Letterman's show, which so weirdly, but I was in college and I went to New York and saw a live taping of Late Night with David Letterman.
That's wild.
Having no idea that I would take over that show.
That's wild.
And in that studio, and that some of those crew members would be my crew members. So I remembered being led in by NBC Pages and sitting down and thinking, what's going on?
Yeah.
This is really small.
Yeah.
Because on television, the perspective is widened and things look big.
Yeah.
And realizing, wait a minute, what the fuck? Like, where Dave is standing doing his monologue, he can reach over and touch, Paul Schaefer.
Yeah.
He could touch him. Whereas on TV, the way they shoot it, it doesn't look that way at all.
Huge.
And Studio 6A is notoriously, it was built for radio.
Yeah.
And that's the magic of it.
Yeah.
Is that it's small.
Yeah.
So comedy rockets around the room and bounces off the walls.
And it felt like there was something, it felt exclusive and small. It felt like the audience, they didn't sweeten the audience either, which I don't know if late night shows do that at all, but
I wish we did. We never thought of that.
By the way, I have a story relating to that, wishing your audience was sweetened with a terrible, terrible bit I brought on your show. But as far as the Letterman show goes, there was something just as a fan that felt like a clubhouse or something.
Yes,
like it was So did they find you in the audience? Did they go back ever and find you on that
I was
episode?
sitting pretty far back, and I would have to. I know one.
That's incredible.
I gotta find that episode actually.
Who was the guest? Do you remember?
It's a blur. I have a memory of one bit, and I'm gonna really have to think about it. But a door slides open, and a boxer comes out of the wall. But I bet I could figure out what the episode is. I don't think there's a shot of me in the audience. I was sitting pretty far back with my friend Maya Williams, and afterwards, Maya knew one of the writers on the show, Steve O'Donnell.
Oh, yeah, Steve.
And Steve brought us up to the offices, and we're sitting in Steve O'Donnell's tiny office. These never became our offices. We got different offices. And I'm sitting there with Maya talking to Steve, and Meryl Marco walks by, and a guy in a leather jacket walks by with her carrying a box, and it's Dave Letterman.
Wow.
And he kind of just nods at us and keeps moving. And if I was a kid, I'd say it was like the president of the United States walked by, but that no longer works.
Right.
That was the president. Now, I'm sorry. I don't care who's president now in this world. It would be like, it's the president.
It's been so demystified. And it's just, who cares?
Whatever. So I'll never forget. I remember the jacket he was wearing. I remembered thinking, wow.
Yeah.
He gets to have this show. And then the idea that, what is that? That's probably 1983.
Yeah.
The idea that 10 years later, I'm hosting that show, to this day makes no sense to me. And I think was a mistake. I really do in my heart think it was a fucking blunder. No, I'm taking it all in. Whatever. I'm saying it's a beautiful thing, but
did you ever
it doesn't
tell
make any
Dave
sense.
that?
I don't know that I have.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have, because I don't know, not that Dave and I talk that much, but and only because we don't cross paths much. When we do, I treasure those moments.
Yeah.
But from his perspective, it's a story of, I saw you once and you were wearing a leather jacket in a hallway.
Yeah.
And I had acne.
Right. And I asked you, do you have anything that can clear this up?
Do you have anything? And will your crew hate me as much as I think they will?
And do you want to spend your moments with Dave recalling that particular?
I think I will next time.
Yeah, you should. I bet he would get a kick out of it.
He might. I don't know. Or he might have me taken away by his retinue of goons.
What was the story when you were on the bit?
Oh, yeah. You didn't tell us. You did a bit. What happened?
Okay. So it ended up being.
I know.
You know.
Go ahead.
Okay. It ended up being one of the most deeply embarrassing moments I've had. And it's also confounding to me from beginning to end why I did this. I just had this confidence in this bit and didn't really slow down to think about it before I was promoting Big Little Lies, right?
Yep.
The second season of Big Little Lies. And so the bit that I came up with, it's also interesting because it's so bad from so many different angles, and there's nothing about it that works. Nothing.
You know what I love? You so don't want to tell us what it is.
I know.
That you keep qualifying it.
I know.
And another thing you should know is that the Roman Empire did not have movable type.
When I tell you the basic premise, you're going to be like, why would you do that? Okay, so Big Little Lies, the way I saw it going is like us talking and you being like, wow, the cast is amazing. It's like, it's all like legendary actresses. It's like the traveling Wilburys of legendary actresses, like, so what I had done is I thought that saying the traveling Wilburys of actresses and equating Big Little Lies with the traveling Wilburys would be this like comedy explosion.
It is funny.
That would, well.
But then you start to go through, like, for example, Reese is like, go ahead.
Yeah, I had mocked up the album cover.
Oh, wow.
With, instead of the traveling Wilburys, the actresses' faces on their bodies.
Yep.
And also had gone through for each traveling Wilbury and switched them out for like Reese's Bob Dylan, Shailene, Nicole Kidman is George Harrison, whatever. I don't remember what it was. Yeah. So
and you had reasons why.
I had reasons why, but the major, first of all, nobody under 50 knows who the fuck the traveling Wilburys are.
This was immediately apparent.
When I said the first line, it's like the traveling Wilburys of actresses, it was silent. Silent.
You could hear the air condenser.
Literally.
Yeah.
But also I came to learn that those over 50 who do remember the traveling Wilburys don't give a fuck. About
I may be your one demographic for this.
Why weren't you there?
I was at a Traveling Wilburys concert.
So I say it, silence, show the record cover, silence.
Right.
And then I start going through each member of the band.
Yep, you sure did.
The crazy thing is I was so sure that this was going to create a tidal wave of comedy that you and I would just be able to surf through each member of the band, that I never came up with actual jokes for each one.
Right.
I just had these little like, oh, she was in Days of Thunder, so she's Bob Dylan, thinking it would just be so like crackly and you and Andy would be like,
right.
Oh.
It would take on this life of its own.
Yes.
And it's like nuclear fission or fusion. It's just going to, molecules are going to be bouncing off each other and the rest will take care of itself.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we'll be fine.
Yeah.
But like you in the Letterman Theater, here we are 10 years later, and look at the gold it's giving us.
No. And this is the perfect place to discuss this because it's anatomy of a, you are not alone. I've had many prominent people come up to me over the years and say, I just want to say I'm sorry. Really? And I'll say, what? And they'll say, oh, in 1998, I came on and I tried this thing and I bombed so hard and I don't remember.
Right.
Yours, I remember. I wake up every morning thinking about it and my wife is like, what happened? Is it the Wilburys? Is it the M. Scott Wilburys bit? And I'm like, it is. And she's like, you're not there anymore. It's over. You're safe. You're with me. And we get a cold cloth and we,
it was so long.
But what I remember about that moment is a lot of other people would have bailed and you clearly were like, no, I made my bed and I'm seeing this through to the end. And I think at the end you say something like, and that is why. People can look it up now, which is the beauty, but
no, because after the show, I remember talking to Andy backstage and being like, how could I have thought that was something? That was not, and we begged you guys not to air it. And I think the reaction was like, oh, please, can we? Oh, no. Of course we're not going to air that. So I don't think it aired.
It exists somewhere, and I've got to find it.
Did you help them out at all, or were you just sitting there just watching?
No, you did.
Happened?
I think I tried.
You tried.
I do have the reputation of trying to help.
I know. That's why I'm asking.
But at a certain point, I saw 9 sharks chomping away at Adam Scott, and blood and gore filling the water, and I decided to get back on the boat.
That sounds like you. Yeah.
I removed my foot from the water and got into the boat. And then, because I saw, like, he's lost too much, it's over, you know?
Yeah. I had no legs. Like, what are you going to do? I can't swim with you to the boat.
At the end of the episode, we did cut it out. But at the end of the episode, you went from telling a good story to just being a head.
That's right. Just floating. Where are you going?
A head sitting on a chair.
I still haven't done Roy Orbison.
We never did get to Roy Orbison.